There is a lot going on in this biblical story from Genesis. For one thing, it's a rationalization for why an omnipotent God would also make life kind of suck. I mean, considering that he is omnipotent, you would think he would make it a little bit more pleasant, right? But at least the story of the fall of Adam and Eve does explain why now life is filled with hardship. Jordan Peterson, as you can imagine, digs much more deep into this story than I could ever hope to. In his view, it wasn't just that Eve ate the apple out of folly or carelessness, it was because of a kind of pathological empathy towards the snake. That she thought she could incorporate the snake into the community, so to speak. Eve tells the snake that they can't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil or they'll die. The snake says to Eve, quote, "Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil." So that was his pitch, and the worst you could say about Eve, in my opinion, is that she was naive. She believed the snake and believed that good things would happen if they ate the apple. She didn't necessarily say that the snake would be their friend, as Peterson seems to imply. When Eve follows the snake's instructions to eat the apple, Peterson takes that as an example of feminine naivete. Quote, "It looks so harmless, what could go wrong?" He makes an analogy between Eve's attitude towards the snake and the issues that we face today with predators and parasites, as he puts it. Quote, "Could the gates not open for them too?" It's an example, as Peterson puts it, of, quote, "maternal benevolence." Now that sounds like a good thing, but it can be prideful too, because sometimes showing empathy can be, well, virtue signaling, and that's a big problem. It was certainly a big problem when Eve ate the apple. We can all agree on that. It's a fascinating metaphor from Jordan Peterson about Eve eating the apple and the pathological empathy of Western civilization. But I don't know that the Old Testament actually says that. The rather sparse prose of Adam and Eve doesn't suggest, at least not explicitly, that Eve feels empathy towards the snake. Now that doesn't mean that Peterson is wrong, it just means he's being a little creative, and that's a good thing. Genesis describes Eve's thinking when she decides to eat the apple. "And when this woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat." So according to the Bible, Eve ate the apple because of its perceived benefits, according to the snake, what the snake told her. Not necessarily because she had empathy for the snake itself. It just doesn't really say that. But nonetheless, Peterson's point is taken. This empathy, this pathological empathy, is a big problem for Western civilization, and much of our civilization is based on these myths and stories from the Bible.